Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Swan Song. So every time I hear this music, I start to just lose track of what I wanted to say at the beginning of the episode. It's just like so soothing, so I don't know. Feels like some kind of music that I would get myself lost in quite often. I like the beginning, but not so much the like middle part, because it does get super hectic. Like lots of instruments start playing. It gets really, really crazy, you know? I like a more chill tune. It does fit with the story though, or the opening of what was happening. But yeah, we're back to Swan Song. I'm actually pretty pumped for this game. Unlike Subahibi, like, I know I'm gonna keep comparing this game to previous playthroughs that I did, because it's just so fresh in my mind. But the tone of this game is surprisingly... like, the pacing is kinda nice, you know? There's no overarching mystery about what's gonna happen next and whatnot. I mean, there is, but it's more so like they're trying to survive, rather than there being a mystery that they're trying to uncover. And it's a lot less dark than I thought. Yeah, there are still people dying here and there, but I thought the overall atmosphere for the story and the character interactions would be a lot darker. But yeah, sorry, enough of my ramble, let's continue. We line up the stuff we got from the supermarket in the corner of the chapel.
野菜とかはちょっと怪しくなってきたかな。
As Tanomura-san says, the leafy vegetables are getting soft. The temperature recently has been colder than inside a refrigerator, but the vegetables are still starting to go bad. Perishable food will start becoming inedible from now on. The amount of food at the supermarket is more than we'd be able to eat up, so it's not troublesome even if some of the food goes bad. But I still don't like that limited resource is being depleted.
困ったな。サラダ食べられるのもあとちょっとか。俺サラダ好きなんだけどね。
Tano Musa? I think that's a typo. He's Tanomura, right? Yeah. Tanomura-san scratches his head.
でも野菜がなくなっても十分贅沢ですよ。
The last scene of the last episode, by the way, was really heartwarming. I really enjoyed that. I still do think I like Sasaki quite a lot. She's a pretty chill girl. But who knows, like, considering this is a... like, you know, this kind of situation, some people might change after they couldn't handle what's going on for the most part. Like, I don't doubt that some people would do something ridiculous. That's just how it is when things get too tense, right? When people can't handle the pressure. Sasaki-san picks up a chunk of beef. The beef has the label Special Matsuzaka Beef.
こんなの一人暮らしになってから食べたことなかったですよ。この生活になってから普段よりずっと高級なもの食べてるような気がします。
どうせダメになっちゃうんだから、いいものから食べないとね。
お醤油もお塩もなんだか高そうなのですし、全部でいくら分くらい持ってきてるんでしょう。後で怒られるとしたら、田野村さんが代表で怒られてくださいよ。
I mean, he makes a good point, you know. Rather eat the expensive stuff. It's not like people are gonna eat it. Or, like, it's not like anyone else is gonna eat it. Sasaki-san smiles bitterly.
オーケーオーケー。そん時はいくらでも怒られるよ。だからどんどん美味しい料理作ってね。俺、酒と食事とタバコと音楽と、あと女の子が人生最大の楽しみなんだからさ。
Of course you'd add in girls.
人生最大の楽しみがずいぶん多いんですね。
欲深く生まれてしまった悲しみだね。で、今はそのうち一つをゆかっちに任せてるわけなんだよ。
それは責任重大ですね。
そうだよ。お料理期待してるからね。頼むよ。
Tanomura-san laughs happily. Then, Kawase-san appears with loud footsteps. Aroe appears to be following her.
田野村、頼んでたのある？頼んでたのある。
Being asked twice, Tanomura-san smiles bitterly. He throws the plastic bag he was holding and Kawase-san catches it. She happily sits down, lines up the contents, and checks what's inside.
お菓子ですか？
Seeing the colorful wrappings, Kawase-san is lining up. I fucking butchered that sentence. Seeing the colorful wrappings, Kawase-san is lining up. Sasaki-san asks,
チョコにポテチにコンペイトーに羊羹にコーラにあとなんだっけな。
Tanamura-san folds his fingers as he counts them out.
わあ、多いなあ。ひばり、あなたダイエットしてたんじゃないの？
そんなのもうどうだっていいのよ。私は気がついたの。ダイエットなんかバカバカしいわ。人生って悔いを残しちゃいけないんだよ。だからお腹いっぱい好きなものを食べることにした。明日が見えないこんな時だからこそ、瞬間瞬間をもっと楽しんでいかないとだよ。
At their current predicament, she's not wrong.
そんなこと言って、こんな時でもあなた体重増えたら騒ぐんじゃないの？
Sasaki-san looks troubled.
まさか、いくらなんでもそんなことないって。やだな。
But Kawase-san's face doesn't look too confident.
まったく。
そん時はそん時よね。アロエ、あんたそれ欲しいの？
Aroe is dazzled and curiously poking the shiny wrappers.
ダメです。
Aroe mutters, laughs, and violently shakes the bag of chips.
バカ、粉々になっちゃうでしょ。
Kawase-san quickly snatches it away.
おもちゃじゃないんだから。もう。
Aroe clings onto Kawase-san, who's mad, and reaches for the chips. Aroe is about a head taller than Kawase-san, so she can easily reach the bag no matter how far Kawase-san stretches her arm. She's in an awkward posture, and it looks like a one-on-one basketball game.
危ないですよ。
I support Kawase-san from behind since she's losing her balance.
危ないですよ。
Aroe mutters.
あんたが言わないでよ。
アロエちゃん、こっち見てごらんよ。君にはこれ持ってきたんだよ。
Tanamura-san holds out some high-grade coffee beans. It seems Aroe isn't interested in the dull silver package, and she just glances at it before reaching out for the chips again.
コーヒーだよ。コーヒー飲まない？
Aroe doesn't even look. Huh? Interesting, I thought she likes coffee. I grab Aroe using my left hand.
ダメだよ。
I tell her no.
わかりません。
Aroe tries to go after Kawase-san, but I don't let go of her.
ダメだって。
I say it clearly to her face.
ダメです。
Aroe sounds sad, and Kawase-san is laughing as she gets away.
まったく、しょうがないな。
Tanamura-san puts the coffee beans on the table, smiles, and asks Sasaki-san.
そういえば、タクちゃんはどこ行ったの？
桑形さんはイカダの材料を見に行きましたけれど。
タクちゃんやる気満々だね。いいことだ。若者はそうでなくちゃいかんよ。
You can't be that old, you know, Tanamura. Tanamura-san nods at his own words.
よし、つかちゃん。
何ですか？
あとは若い者に任せて、俺たち年長組は休憩しよう。
田村さんはともかく、僕はみんなと一つしか違いませんよ。
俺を一人仲間外れにしないでよ。つかちゃんも仲間だよ。おっさんたちは歩き回って疲れちゃったのさ。
Man, I'm really digging the atmosphere of this game so far. But there's like a looming darkness that something's gonna go wrong at some point. Like, after reading so many fucked up shit, you just not get rid of that feeling, you know? It's kind of sad when that's gonna happen. This is such a very good atmosphere too. Tanamura-san heads to the table, looking like he's not tired at all. Oh, wow, there's actually a choice. I thought this would be interesting. I don't know if this actually like affects the ending we're gonna get or not, but I think I'm actually gonna rest. Not because I like Tanamura. I am actually very, very cautious of Tanamura. Like, I know this might be bad of me to say, even though he's been doing a lot of good stuff for us, but I still don't 100% trust him. I'm gonna rest just so that I can get more interactions with him. If I don't rest, I will probably just talk with the girls and such. Sasaki-san is preparing a meal. Kawase-san is playing with Aroe outside. Tanamura-san and I are drinking coffee. On the table is the CD player he found, playing pop music at low volume. I don't know what the song is called, but it must be popular considering that I recognize it. The whispery sound of the female singer's voice is distinctive. It's cloudy and snowing outside like always. I can hear Aroe and Kawase-san's voices, but I can't see them from here. I can't see them, but I can tell what they're doing. Because Kawase-san talks so much. It seems they found Kuwagata-san. I hear him shouting in protest and two girls' charming voices. It seems they're throwing snowballs at him. Kuwagata-san was only yelling at first, but he must have eventually started throwing back. I hear him laugh. When I notice, Sasaki-san is humming along with the music. Her humming is off, so she probably doesn't know what she's humming. Oh, she probably doesn't know that she's humming. My coffee cup is empty, so I pour some more. Tanamura-san lights another cigarette.
なんだか平和だね。
Tanamura-san looks a bit sleepy. I nod back. The coffee is lukewarm and the smell is gone.
今日何日だったっけ？
12月30日です。
Tanamura-san whistles when I answer.
もうすぐ今年も終わっちゃうじゃないの。
終わりですね。
なんだか嘘みたいだね。
Tanamura-san stares outside again. He's staring at something in the distance. I follow his gaze and see the rubble and water fill town. You know, playing this game, because there's so much text to actually read out, I don't really have a lot of things to think about, because, it's not that I don't have a lot of things to think about, it's more like, there's barely any time to process what's going on. I think that's the kind of thing they want to do for the readers. And I kind of appreciate that. The pace is pretty fast-paced. With all the monologue that always goes on. I like it. That's why I also don't have a lot of things to talk about during each of the sessions. But I do still give my thoughts on some things, at least. That's kind of bothering me.
今年は寒いね。サラサラのパウダースノーだよ。スキーとかスノボをしたらすっごい気持ちいいと思わない？
どっちもやったことがないです。
そうなんだ。俺は好きだよ。本当だったら今年も今頃は楽しんでたはずなんだけれどね。たく、天才ってのはいきなり来るのだから困っちゃうよな。
そうですね。
予告してくれる親切な自信ってのはないものかね。
Of course not, you fool. Tanamura-san laughs, takes a drag, and blows the smoke upwards. The white smoke rises to the high ceiling. The CD loops back to its first song. I'm drinking coffee while Tanamura-san is leaning against a wall, smoking. I hear the three having fun outside. Sasaki-san has stopped humming, and she's making a troubled face in front of the pot for some reason.
どうしたんですか？
I ask her. Sasaki-san turns around and tilts her head in wonder.
なんだか味が変なんです。
あらら、お料理失敗しちゃったのかな。
Tanamura-san says this, and Sasaki-san shrugs apologetically.
ごめんなさい。
まあでも食べられればいいよ。味見せてくれない？
Tanamura-san gets up, walks over to her with light steps, and takes a sip from the ladle Sasaki-san holds out.
普通だよ。いつも通り美味しいよ。
そうなんですか？
それとも俺が変なのかな。つかちゃんも味見てよ。
I take a sip as well. The beef stew with the special Matsuzaka beef still needs to be simmered, but I don't taste anything wrong. I think it's good. Sasaki-san is waiting for my reaction, so I shake my head and give her back the ladle.
気のせいなのかな。
She takes a sip again.
やっぱり変ですよ。味が何もしない。
Huh?
何もしないってことはないでしょう。変だな。もしかしてそれって。
Tanamura-san stops mid-sentence. I think the same thing. So I reach out to her forehead. She recoils reflexively.
ちょっと逃げないでください。
はい。
I put my hand on her forehead. I don't really understand. For some reason, I can't feel her temperature. And it feels really bulky, huh?
つかちゃん、手袋。
Oh, you idiot, Tsukasa. I draw my hand back and Tanamura-san puts his hand on her forehead instead.
なんでもないですよね。
いや。
He He puts his hand on her forehead again, puts his other hand on his own forehead, and makes a difficult expression.
つうか前から思ってたんだけれど、これで熱があるかどうかなんてよくわからないよね。体温計を使おう。
I mean, that makes sense. It's not like the temperature on your other, like on both of your arms is always the same.
39度？ゆかち、本当なの？
Kawase-san is surprised, so Tanomura-san shows her the temperature displayed on the thermometer. Sasaki-san is lying down with lots of blankets wrapped around her like a bagworm.
ごめんなさい。
She must have a cold. Observing her with that in mind, she is breathing harder, and her voice and expression seems a bit weaker.
大丈夫ですか？具合悪いとかないですか？
Kuwagata-san leans forward, obviously panicking, so Kawase-san pulls him back.
そんなに大騒ぎするようなことじゃないですって。ほっとけばそのうち治りますよ。それよりお料理しないと。
I think you should stop there.
ダメですよ、起きちゃ。ちゃんと治さないと。タノさん、風邪薬とか解熱剤とか、そういうのは持ってないんですか？
とりあえずアスピリン飲んでもらったから熱は下がると思うよ。でももう残り少ないからもうちょっと何かあった方が良いけれど。
何かって何がですか？どこにあるんですか？どうしますか？
Kuwagata, you're going back to your old self. Stop that.
周りが焦ったらダメだよ。
でも
もう少し落ち着いたら俺と塚ちゃんで探しに行くよ。
僕も行きます。
タクちゃんは残った方がいいよ。ひばりちゃん一人でアロエちゃんとゆかっち二人の面倒は見られないだろうし。
そうですね。
Kuwagata-san glances at Sasaki-san.
すみません。でも本当にそんなに気を使ってもらわなくてもいいんですよ。
まあまあ。とりあえずゆかっちはおとなしく寝てなよ。いつも人一倍働いているし、ちょうどいい休息だよ。
そうですよ。佐々木さんは休んでいてください。
このままみんながいたら寝られないね。俺たちは部屋出ようか。ほら、アロエちゃん、毛布引っ張らないの。おもちゃじゃないんだから。
We leave Kawase-san in the room and return to the chapel. Kawase-san comes out of the room after a while and reports to us that Sasaki-san fell asleep. It seems she's sound asleep. The cold must have exhausted her.
つかちゃん、どうしたらいいと思う？
ここは普通に栄養と休養が必要でしょう。そのためには何か部屋を暖かくする方法を手に入れないといけませんね。
そうだね。食べ物はゆかちゃんが自分で作ってたあのシチューとビタミンを取れば栄養満点だと思うんだけど、暖かくね。やっぱりストーブをどこかから調達してこないとダメだな。
ストーブの調達は難しそうですね。
そうだね。でもなんとかしよう。それにしてもうかつだったな。もっと早く考えておくべきだった。あれだけ寒ければ風邪をひいてもおかしくないよ。凍えなければいいやって生活の目標レベルが下がっていたんだね。俺たちは原始人かっての。ゆかっちだけが人間だったわけだ。
I don't know. You don't consider primitive men to be human? He smiles bitterly. We then go outside. It's not that late, but it's dark already. With flashlights in hand, we start walking in the same direction without a word. I know where we're headed even without discussing it. If we were to find a stove, it would have to be inside a collapsed house. We feel guilty about going into someone else's house, so we travel in silence. About an hour and a half after we arrive at our destination, we finally manage to find a stove with minimal damage under the fourth ruin we searched through. We hesitate for a second since it's placed within a delicate scene, but we end up holding our breath and carefully carrying out the stove. After getting outside, we turn it on and find out that it works without a problem.
これでいいですかね。
I asked Tanomura-san.
仕方ないね。選択肢はないよ。
Tanomura-san makes a sour face and nods.
じゃあ次は予備の燃料を探しましょ
そうだね。
I turn off the stove.
う。何ですか？
そこを拭いておいた方がいいよ。
Blood, I assume? I look to see that there's blood splattered on the side. I wipe it off with a piece of cloth on the ground. Right before we leave, we put a board over the hole we took the stove out from. We could not bear to see the old man's ruptured body exposed. Everyone smiles once we take the stove back and warm up the room. Sasaki-san's temperature isn't down the next day. It's 38.7 degrees. If this is her temperature just after waking up, she might even be worse come evening. She's already exhausted and has no appetite.
体を拭くんだから出てってよね。
Kawase-san touches Sasaki-san, who has sweat a lot. We eat the leftover stew in the chapel and talk. All we can do is let her rest. But her high fever is troublesome. We just gave her the last of the aspirin, so we have to obtain fever medicine from somewhere. It'd be great if we could go to a hospital or a drugstore. The drugstore should be underwater, considering its location. And the biggest hospital in town is on the other side of the shore, assuming it wasn't destroyed.
早くイカダを完成させましょう。
Kuwagata-san says this. He makes a good point.
どれくらいでできそうなの？
組むだけならすぐできそうですよ。
組むだけなら？
折れた資材をつなぎ合わせるんですから、強度を入念に調べる必要があります。安全性を冒険しても構わないなら、そこまで時間がかからないと思います。
Oh, I don't like that though.
私はそんなの嫌よ。
Kawase-san objects.
あるいは、サイズをもう少し小さくすれば、それなりに確実なものがすぐ作れます。
We can potentially make a smaller raft, have a few people go and then come back, right? I think that's a bit doable, but I don't know. But he says that the raft will only be able to carry 1 or 2 people. Yeah, just like what I was thinking.
とりあえずそれでいいんじゃない？一人でも二人でもとにかく誰かが渡って必要なものを探したらいいじゃん。私は嫌だけど。
Kawase-san proposes. But even if we make such a raft and go across the lake, it'll be a waste of effort if the buildings we're seeking have been destroyed. There's a better way. We just need to search through houses. Every house should have some cold medicine. I haven't gotten over what we did yesterday, but this isn't the time to be hesitating. I secretly look at Tanomura-san, and he nods back as if it has to be done. So, we end up searching through houses just like we did last night. Okay. That also works.
やっぱりおかしいです。
Kuwagata-san spits this out after throwing a piece of rubble at the ground.
なんで、こんな残酷なものを許すんですか？どうして、罪もないはずの人たちなのに、誰からも守られなかったんですか？
Oh my god, he really should have stayed back, dude. Kuwagata-san asks no one in particular.
タクちゃんはいつも熱いね。
Tanomura-san smiles bitterly as he turns over some rubble.
だって、そうじゃないですか。これ見てくださいよ。何ですかこれ。賛美じゃないですか。この人たちは何か間違ったことをしたんですか？してないでしょ？ちょっとくらい間違ったとしても、ここまで理不尽な運命に遭う必要はなかったはずです。
It's still light out, and the white light streaming in through the thick clouds vividly reveals our surroundings. In front of Kuwagata-san is a crumbled roof, and the window on the second floor is wide open. The light must be clearly showing what's inside. Tanomura-san and I already saw last night what's inside.
その議論は後にして、俺たちは早く薬を見つけて帰らなくちゃ。ひどいことを言うようだけど、死んでしまった人は今はどうでもいいんだ。生きているユカッチの健康の方がずっと大事だよ。
He makes a good point, I agree.
そりゃそうですけど、でも納得できないですよ。そうだ、こう考えたらどうですか？もし死んだのが見知らぬ他人じゃなくて自分の最愛の家族だったとしたら。
What's the point of thinking that right now, though, Kuwagata?
クワガタさん、それは。
Kuwagata-san shuts his mouth.
いやいや、たとえ家族だろうが最愛の人だろうが、死人よりは生きてる人の方が大事だよ。
Man, Tanomura-san, I like you, but you give me some bad vibes. Tanomura-san smiles kindly as usual. Kuwagata-san looks away as if overawed.
すみません。
He hangs his head.
辛いのはわかるけど、俺たちにはまだこれからがあるんだからさ。頑張ろうよ。
はい。
まあでも、悲しみを感じたときは、心から大いに悲しむのも人として素晴らしいと思うけど、割り切るばっかりがいいってわけでもないよ。要はバランスだね。
そうですね。いつもすいません。
ん？なんで俺なんかしてるの？
Tanomura-san smiles.
頑張らなくちゃな。
He He shakes his head as if to brush it off and gets back to work. I stand where Kuwagata-san was standing and peek inside. A beam has fallen, crushing the futon horizontally. 3 pairs of legs are sticking out from the futon. They belong to a woman, a child, and a man. A family must have been sleeping together. Under this natural light, instead of a flashlight, the grotesque impression has faded, and the scene looks relatively ordinary. I sigh in relief for the dead people. I don't think that's ordinary at all, though. It's New Year's Eve today, so we make soba. Well, we only boiled the dried noodles, cut the green onions, and ate it with diluted soba sauce. We also simmer oden using a big pot. This too is a simple dish where we put random ingredients into diluted oden soup stock. Kawase-san complained that the meals have gotten sloppy since Sasaki-san got sick, but nobody mentions the fact that the green onions she cut up were the sloppiest. There's a lot of alcohol too. We got the most expensive sake on the shelf, such as Daiginjo. What's that?
私は何も怖くはないわ。笑いも涙ももういらないの。
What is that? Aroe has memorized the song Tanomura-san is always playing and is murmuring it as she squats in the corner of the chapel. I assume that she's playing by restoring the broken statue again. Oh, that's a broken statue. So I go near her to watch. A lively arm has been reconstructed as I expected, but it's firmly glued together this time. The glued sections appear as cracks, and the arm looks like a melon, creating a strange image. Aroe is smearing gray fluid from a can on the cross-section, gluing on each of the pieces. The liquid is the construction putty that I searched for the other day since Kawase-san asked.
楽しそうでしょ。
Kawase-san says this, but I can't tell that what Aroe is thinking from her expression. Now that she mentions it, she does kind of look like she's having fun.
いつもつなげたのがバラバラになるたびにギャーギャーうるさくて大変だったんだよ。壊れなくなったら落ち着いてずっとやってるの。本当に集中するものがあるとすごく静かなんだけどな。
Aroe really does remind me of like a movie I saw back when I was a kid. I forgot what it was called, but it was about a boy genius who had autism. But he was like really small though, and Aroe is really big. I'd assume Aroe is around 18 or something according to her body size, but her mind is definitely not 18. Kawase-san sighs.
それにしてもアロエはすごいですね。これならテレビの取材が来ますよ。
そうだね。元に戻ったらこの子をテレビに出して一発当てよう。どうよ司、マネージャーやらない？
僕、お金の計算は苦手なんです。
使えない男だな。
This girl is so blunt. Kinda appreciate her bluntness though now.
じゃあひばりちゃんは何するの？
Tanomura-san joins the conversation.
私はこの子の通訳やるよ。結構言いたいことを分かるようになってきたんだから。だいたいさ、私は裏方っていうタイプじゃないじゃん。
テレビに映りたいんですね。
Kuwagata-san joins in.
悪い？
いや、悪くないですけど。
That's right.
まあ、嫉妬なんかしなくても、あんたもきっとそのうちテレビに映れるから大丈夫よ。
別に嫉妬なんかしてませんが、でも映れるって。
うん、あんたはね。
犯罪はしませんよ。
じゃあ無理よ。でもそれじゃあ一生テレビに出られないわよ。どうすんのよ。
This girl is so fucked up in the head.
それなら別に出られなくていいですよ。
Kuwagata-san mutters as if he's not interested.
だってもう終わりでしょ。
Aroe pays no heed to our conversation and continues to reconstruct the statue while singing. The smell of oden starts to fill the chapel while we're talking. It feels like I'm walking past a fruit stand or entering a convenience store in the winter. Sasaki-san eventually wakes up. She laughs and tells us that it smells good. She's wobbling, so I get her to sit down and put a blanket over her shoulders.
もう大丈夫なんですけどね。
Sasaki-san pouts every time someone stops her whenever she tries to do something. and dinner starts. We're just trying to be
ひばりちゃん
careful.
はこれ食べるといいよ。
Tanomura-san, whose face is red from alcohol, hands her oden on a stick. Triangular konnyaku, egg, and fish cake are all on the stick.
いつになく気が利くわね。どうしたの？何か魂胆があるの？
いやー、そんなのないよ。いつも怒らせてるからたまには褒められようかと思ってね。
なんだか気持ち悪いよ。
そんなことないって。すっかり疑り深くなっちゃったね。悲しいな。
Wait, where's Kuwagata-san? I don't see him. Oh, is that Kuwagata-san in the bottom? I thought that was Aroe for a second.
そんなことないよ。
Kawase-san takes it suspiciously, and Tanomura-san quickly follows up.
提案でバロイチクショイって言ってよ。
何？
提案でバロイチクショイ。
提案でバーロイチキショイ？
Kawase-san repeats after him. Kuwagata-san, who was watching it, bursts into laughter, chokes on sake and cuffs.
タクちゃんもそっくりだと思うでしょ。
Tanomura-san is grinning.
なんなのよ。
チビタだ。リアルチビタ。
What's that?
チビだって？
いや、なんでもないよ。ありがとうありがとう。気にしないで早く食べなよ。
Tanomura-san makes a straight face and urges Kawase-san.
死ねこの酔っ払い。
Kawase-san's face is red too.
ねえ、なんなのチビだって。これ何？
She holds out the Odin stick and asks, but Tanomura-san only laughs and does not answer.
これは何なの？
Kawase-san asks me,
わからないですけど、冗談なんじゃないですか。
そんなのは分かってるよ。
Man, Tsukasa is so fucking awkward. I like that guy. I like a lot of these characters. It's gonna be sad when something fucks up happen.
ゆかっちまで笑わないでよ。
だっておかしくて。
Sasaki-san is holding her stomach and trying not to laugh.
ここには私の味方はいないの？
Kawase-san looks astonished.
なんかだんだん地球上で私の心の友はあんただけみたいな気がしてきたよ。
Kawase-san puts her arm around Aroe, who is silently eating her oden. Aroe glances at Kawase-san in wonder, then continues to eat. Midnight approaches as we leisurely eat and drink. I put Aroe, who is dozing off, to bed and return to the chapel. Everyone is sitting around the fire, and the CD player has been turned on when I noticed.
ゆかっちも寝た方がいいんじゃないの？
You should. Kawase-san asks with concern as she eats the rest of the oden. Sasaki-san ponders for a second.
みんなと年越しを過ごしたいの。今は少し気分がいいし。ダメかな。
でも
せっかくだしいいんじゃないの。
Tanomura-san is holding a cup with sake in it.
そうですよ。一緒に新しい年を迎えましょうよ。来年は何か良いことがあるように。
いいことね。何があるのかしらね。
Kawase-san lets out a big sigh and nibbles on a chikua. She then raises her head.
ところで頼むら、お餅はあるの？
She asks.
あるよ。もう焼いてるよ。
Tanomura-san answers.
なんで年明けてないのにもう焼いているのよ。
なんか食べたくなってさ。
まあいいわ。じゃあタイのお頭付きは？門松は？
それはないかな。
なんでないのよ。それじゃあお正月の感じがちっとも出ないよ。
スルメならあるけど。
そんな生臭くて硬い年寄りの食べ物なんかいらないよ。
I like squid.
日本酒にとても合うんだけどな。
I kinda like sake, but I don't really drink too much sake to know how good it is yet. But from what I drank in Japan, it wasn't too bad. I definitely like it a lot more than beer. Beer tastes disgusting. IMO anyway. Tanomura-san nibbles on the dried squid in disappointment. I've never had it before, so I have him share some. It smells savory like the sea.
思ったんですけど、川瀬さんって年中行事をとことん味わい尽くす性格なんですね。すごいこだわりを感じます。
Kuwagata-san nods in admiration.
この子、イベントと名が付くものだったら、お葬式以外何でも大騒ぎしちゃうんですよ。
Sasaki-san sounds embarrassed.
なんかその言い方だと私バカの子みたいだね。
いや、僕にはわかりますよ。 安心してください。
むしろもっと不安になっちゃったよ。
そんな。
プリプリしちゃダメだよ。ひばりちゃんにはお正月らしい、これぞ日本の元旦っていうのかな、そういう特別なイベントを用意してるんだから。
何よそれ。
ヒントあげよっか。これでわかるかな。
Tanamura-san looks really happy as he puts an envelope on the table. The envelope says New Year's gift and has anime characters printed on it. Kawase-san sadly throws a white radish at Tanamura-san. He catches it skillfully using his chopsticks and smiles as he takes a bite of it.
あんたってほんとムカつくよ、このうすらトンカチ。
そうかそうか。
Tanamura-san smiles daringly.
でも俺がうすらトンカチならひばりちゃんと俺は仲間だね。
え、どういうこと？
僕わかりました。
何よクワガタ、つまんないこと言ったら殺すよ。
きっと大丈夫です。
じゃあどうぞ。
はい。タノさんがうすらトンカチで、そして川瀬さんは金槌じゃないですか。トンカチと金槌。ほら親戚だ。そういうことですよね。
あ、なるほど。
なるほどじゃないよバカ。
She slaps me for some reason when all I did was nod.
ゆかっち、なんか私最近いつもいじめられてるような気がするよ。
Kawase-san goes crying to Sasaki-san. Sasaki-san smiles bitterly and pats her head.
ひばりは愛されてるんだよ。
絶対違うよ。これは女の子の扱いじゃないもの。
そんなこと言ったってひばりだってすぐからかったり叩いたりしてるでしょ。だいたい女の子として扱ってほしいの？
いや、それはすごく気持ち悪いけど。
もう。
でもさ。
Kawase-san moves away from Sasaki-san and makes a straight face.
そりゃあ私はイベント好きだけどさ。でもそれを抜きにしたって大事だと思うな。こんなひどい状況だからって普段なら感じられたはずのことを我慢するなんて私ムカつくのよね。だってなんか負けたみたいで悔しいじゃんか。みんなは平気なの？そういうの思わないの？だからあんまりからかわないでほしいな。
ひばりちゃんはたまにすごくいいことを言うよね。
She does. Tanamura-san is impressed.
そんなことないわ。
Kawase-san hangs her head in embarrassment. Then I hear the sound of a gong from far away.
除夜の鐘かな。
え？
Sasaki-san turns around.
除夜の鐘ですよ。
I repeat myself, but nobody replies. It seems no one else heard it.
今鐘が鳴ってますよ。お寺の。多分除夜の鐘だと思うんです。
But who is the one that did it, you know? Who was the one that rang the gong? Or hit the gong?
ほんと？
Kawase-san looks at me in doubt, so I nod back to her. Tanamura-san turns off the CD player. Everyone holds their breath and quiets down. The sound of a gong echoes through the silent chapel. It's not just a single sound. It continues on, and everyone looks at each other. It seems they heard it too.
やっぱり僕たちの他にも誰か生きてるんですね。
Kuwagata-san looks excited.
なんかもうすっかり私たちしかいないような気持ちになってたよ。
Kawase-san can't hide her delight either. But Tanamura-san tilts his head in wonder.
どうしたんですか？
Sasaki-san asks.
いや、この町にこんな鐘を鳴らすお寺なんかあったかな。俺ずっとここに住んでるけど記憶にないんだよね。
でも実際音が鳴ってるんだし、どこかにはあるんじゃないでしょうか。
Yeah, this is not giving me a good feeling.
そうだよね。でももしかしたら録音か何かかな。
Makes sense.
いや、これは実際に鐘をついてる音だと思います。
I interject. I can't tell where the sound is coming from since it's reverberating against the mountains, but it's not something recorded. It's certainly being hit by someone around this area. At the very least, that's how it sounds to me.
つかちゃんが言うならそうなのかな。鐘どこかにしまってあったのかな。
とにかく
Sasaki-san sounds happy.
こんな状況でも除夜の鐘を生き残ったみんなに聞かせたいと思うような人がいるってことですよね。他にやることもあるはずなのに鐘をついてくれてるんですよね。 なんだか嬉しくないですか？そういうの。応援されてるみたいな。
I guess that's a positive way of looking at it, but I don't know. Kawase-san nods silently.
早く沼を越えていかなくちゃいけませんね。やっぱりここにいちゃダメなんです。みんなと合流して力を合わせなきゃ。
Kuwagata-san says this with resolve. I don't know, the gong is creepy to me, man. The gong is hit firmly each time, and will probably go on until it's hit 108 times. Oh! Wow, we're already from a different perspective. Interesting. Wow, so the chapter isn't divided by the perspectives. This is interesting. Every time I open my eyes in the morning, I wish that everything that happened until yesterday was just a dream. I'm always melancholy after I wake up, and I can't cheer up. This tendency has gotten worse since the earthquake. I wake up, see the dirty ceiling, and feel a pain in my chest, as if it's being wrung out like a rag. I open my mouth, wait for the sense of invasion to weaken, and for my mental state to calm to the point where I can move again, then finally manage to raise my body. The first thing I do after waking up is sigh and get depressed. After all, I see a cracked ceiling. It's not the ceiling of my apartment, as I had been slightly hoping for before I opened my eyes. This is reality. My day in the ruined building starts again. I hear mumbling sounds, and I see that Kawase-san and Aroe-chan are hugging and sleeping with their faces next to each other. Kawase-san looks as defenseless as a child. When the rowdy pair is quietly sleeping like this, they're as cute as kittens. I'm sure she'll hit me if I say that to her face though. We're using this room to sleep in. We've spread many layers of outdoor mattresses on the floor, and we all wrap ourselves in bundles of blankets while we sleep. Kawase-san had requested that the men and women sleep in different rooms, but because of the situation we're in, she ended up relenting. While I watch the two sleep, I realize that I'm living under the same roof with girls my own age. Young girls are sleeping before my eyes. I never thought I'd see such a thing, but this isn't a situation I can be happy about. It seems Yuka-san and the others are already awake. They usually wake up before me and occasionally have breakfast prepared. I want to wake up early sometime and be the one to wait for them, but it's a shame that I have trouble waking up. Anyway, I have to get up since I'm awake. My body feels heavy. I put on my coat and find out that it's a bit wet. It's cold and heavy. The chapel is cold and my breath turns white. Yuka-san is boiling lots of water in a pot over the cooking stove we made out of concrete blocks. There's lots of steam coming out of the pot. We use this hot water to wash our faces, shave, and wipe our bodies clean. There's a kettle containing boiled mineral water placed next to the pot. With that, everyone makes their own drink of choice, be it coffee, tea, or soup, to warm their bodies up. There's a basket placed in the corner of the chapel where you can put your laundry for Yuka-san to wash. Of course, I've never put my underwear in there, and instead wash them myself. Could I make her wash them? I don't have the courage to actually try though. All I can manage is to imagine it. Other roles naturally arose as well. Even though we never formally decided on them. We're almost always with someone else throughout the day. Our roles are vaguely determined, and we're rarely perplexed even when we don't say anything. I don't like spending time with people and was really worried about living with others, but it's not that bad once I got used to it. In fact,
おはようございます。
having Yuka-san smile at me first thing in the morning is enough to make me happy, and think that perhaps his life isn't so bad. She's so beautiful. I would have been able to appreciate the situation even more if this wasn't a result of a natural disaster. But I would have never gotten so close to her if the earthquake hadn't occurred. When I consider that, I get mixed feelings.
体調はもういいんですか？
ええ、ご迷惑かけました。おかげさまで熱は下がってましたよ。
Yuka-san bows timidly. She's thanking me, but I really haven't done anything.
でももっと休んでいた方がいいですよ。
I'm embarrassed about how I stutter easily. Why can't I talk smoothly? That must be why I'm no good. I can contemplate this when I'm alone, but I'm never able to overcome it. It's been quite a while since I've gotten to know Yuka-san too. I first met Yuka-san last spring. After I graduated from high school, I moved into this town to get used to living alone. It's spring in March, but the spring in this town was much colder than the spring I was used to, and most buildings were covered in deep snow. We never had this much snow in the town I used to live in. I stared curiously at strangely shaped roofs and the piled up snow on the sides of the road, and I couldn't believe that this would be where my new life would take place. When I was returning to my place after walking around the area, I saw a woman walking in front of me. She was tall and looked beautiful, so I wanted to take a look at her from the front. It was too bad that I couldn't actually do it because I'd look suspicious. I was wondering many things, such as what kind of person she might be, whether she was cute, and why I was imagining that she was beautiful. That's when she suddenly fell over. She let out a cute scream. I saw her face for a split second. I thought that her face looked beautiful. I only saw it for an instant, but she was more beautiful than I had imagined. I thought that it's rare to see such a beautiful woman fall in front of me, and thought that I had been fortunate to see such a thing. It may be terrible, but that's how everyone thinks, right? I happily started to pass by her when I realized it. Wouldn't a normal guy help her or ask her if she's alright? I pondered. Asking her if she's alright is simple courtesy. Even I know that. So I wanted to do that, but normal girls would hate it, much less be thankful, if a guy like me spoke to them. It's happened before. The girl ignored me and asked me with her eyes, "Who the hell are you?" I wish I could reply, "I'm me, what about it?" But I normally just put on a smile. I'm only trying to be kind, but I end up feeling miserable. I think it's because my attitude, appearance, clothing, and communication skills are considerably bad. I guess I'm too soft. This doesn't happen if I'm writing by myself or if I'm chatting over a computer. But I just can't do it in front of a girl. I realize this, but I just can't do anything about it. I look at myself from another person's perspective and get angry or embarrassed when I'm doing something disrespectful. I'm ugly and being ugly is a crime. What the fuck? That's a fucked up way of thinking. Then that means that I'm committing a sin just by existing. It's just going to be uncomfortable for the other person, even if a guy like me is nice. I know how it works. I know, but it's painful for me when people do terrible things to me. It's not something I can get used to. It's always painful. When I do something kind, the woman becomes unhappy and I get sad. So in cases like these, it's best to pretend that I didn't see anything. I have to pass unnoticed like the air, and hide in the darkness when I have to. That's my responsibility for having been born as I am. I want to become human someday. I know that I shouldn't concern myself with people, but it was too late. I'd done it again. It was my mistake for not making a decision quickly enough. My eyes met those of the girl. Wow, she looked even more beautiful from the front. It can't be helped. The beautiful ones are the strong, and those who aren't are the weak. I realized that fact once we were looking each other in the eyes. I was frozen in spot like a frog being stared at by a snake. I couldn't beat her no matter what I tried. If she felt like it, she could violate me however she wished. Beautiful things scare me. My ears began hearing the overture of the tragedy that was about to take place. I tried to think of a way to soften my defeat, but I couldn't come up with anything. The blank time made me panic.
大丈夫ですか?
I instantly reached out to her, already stuttering. Actually, what had I intended to do by reaching out to her? Had I thought that she would take my hand and get up? I shouldn't have done that. Nobody would want to touch me. Isn't that right? I recalled the tragedy at the school folk dance. I was troubled, so I smiled to relieve the situation. I could tell that the muscles in my face were tense. I'm sure I looked really creepy. I probably made the situation worse. I could see the door closing in my face. This is bad. What should be done? But there's nothing to be done. I was stumped. But I had to do something. It was troubling. Oh, I wish she'd pretend that she never saw me. I wish this meeting never happened. I wished in my head, but the girl kept staring at me. Go back, time. But time did not turn back. Her lips moved and...
ありがとうございます。
I heard unexpected words, and something soft and warm touched my hand. White, slender fingers with smooth skin were in my hand. Her nails were beautifully taken care of. It was her hand. This beautiful woman's hand had touched my hand. She staggered and got up while I was frozen in shock at the event.
私、雪道に慣れていなくて。
She got up, then took her hand from my hand and placed it on her chest. She smiled in embarrassment, but her smile was so bright that I had to look away. I saw that her bag was on the ground, so I picked it up and handed it to her.
ありがとうございます。
She bowed and left. I said goodbye and waved my hand, but she walked off in the direction I'd been heading. I couldn't follow after her since I looked like a stalker, so I had to stand there until she disappeared. It may seem lonely just standing there in the wind, but my heart was beating fast and I wasn't thinking about such a thing. I thought that I may be dreaming. By the time I got to my place, I had enough courage to accept the facts as reality. Had she not thought I was a weirdo? Maybe she liked me. Oh my god, stop it! Kogata, she's just being normal. Could we become acquaintances? My mind was filled with ideas. It's sad how I couldn't even begin to imagine being her friend or a boyfriend. A few days later, I met her by chance when we went to take the trash out. I also met her at the convenience store. I had imagined such a thing happening so often, yet I froze in place and couldn't do anything. No, maybe I couldn't do anything precisely because I had been imagining it. But she greeted me each time we meet, and I was happy. And when we met for the third time, I gathered my courage and started a conversation with her. She happily replied. I found out that she lived close enough to me to take the garbage out to the same location, and she told me her name. She said that she had begun living by herself as well so that she could attend college. 2 years passed while I got such information from her, but I didn't know anything else. There was no way our relationship would develop past that of acquaintances would greet each other when they met at the dumpster. Her cell phone number was out of the question. I couldn't move my mouth when I passed by her walking with her friend. I hate how much of a chicken I am. The short girl she's always with will greet me, but she always stares at me as if she's watching a criminal until I've passed them. I haven't done anything wrong, but my heart would ache and I'd feel like apologizing. I really understand Azai's words. I'm sorry for coming into this world. Before I realize it, I'm looking for an appropriate Tamagawa canal. Sorry I lied. Anyway, this cynical attitude of mine is bad, I know. And the night of the earthquake arrived, I was playing a game on my computer that day. It's a game where I play along with other people on the internet. In short, it's an MMORPG. December 24th was Christmas Eve. Those on the computer on such a day are more violent than usual or are hopeless in approaching enlightenment. I'm more of the latter. It's because getting angry at such a time would only tire me out. It's not like getting angry would get me a girl. I just enjoyed the special items the game master had prepared for Christmas Eve, such as Santa costumes and fireworks, so it was fun for me. Even though it's a game, these kind of games are more like chatting. I agree. I moved my character to the gathering spot and talked with the usual members. We're hopeless, huh? Lol. My classmate messaged me in the game. We're just getting started. I answered, but this is really how I feel. I don't think that it's all over for us. I was in front of the computer by myself and typing jokes on Christmas Eve after all. I may be like this until I die. That's highly likely. But I do have hopes and dreams. I have to have them. That's when she started to come up in my mind, but I quickly erased her from my head. It's too early for me. I'm going to bed. The earthquake started right when I typed that. The thunderous roar and impact hit me in an instant. Once I came to, the world had turned black. Oh god, that's so loud. My place broke apart and I thought I'd die, but I didn't. After it became quiet, I put on my coat and ran outside. My room was a big mess, but I ended up not getting hurt at all. The apartment I lived in was a defective building with leaks and broken doors, so it was natural that it collapsed. I was angry, but the town looked even worse, and I realized that I was one of the fortunate people. I'm sorry for cursing you, landlord. I apologized and headed to her place. She hadn't told me where she lived, but I knew anyway. I'd found her name when I secretly checked out the door plates. This must be part of what makes me a creepy guy. What would she think if I came to her place based on information I'd found in such a way? I was worried, but I couldn't pretend I didn't know and not go there. I kept on walking, convincing myself that she was alright. I firmly believed that she was fine, even if she wasn't. I didn't have the courage to think about such supposition. And she was alright. She was with the short friend I always see her with, standing in front of the rubble. Her apartment was much cooler and nicer than mine, and it had looked more firmly built, but it too had collapsed. It took her staring at the crumbled building in shock. I was so happy that she was alive that I called out her name. The two turned around, but I hadn't thought about what to say next.
大変ですね。
Okay, Kuwagata-san, you're kinda creepy, but I do realize that you're not necessarily a bad guy. But you are kinda creepy. I said such a thing.
何？
The short girl looked angry.
あ、いや、大変だなって。
何それ？あんた世間話しに来たの？バカじゃないの？
I agreed with her. Why had I come here? I couldn't think of a reason. I started to get depressed about my helplessness.
ひばりやめなさいよ。桑形さん、とにかく避難しましょう。いつまでもこんな場所にいるわけにはいきませんから。
そうですね。
She ended up telling me what to do, and I went back to my apartment, depressed. It seemed like I went to her for directions. I packed my stuff up and met up with them, and started out. I got scared every time an aftershock hit, but we kept on walking through the destroyed town. I did my best and took the lead since I thought I had to lead the way. But that was my mistake. We eventually found out that we were walking without a set destination.
あんた道知らないのになんで一番前で歩くのよ。
え、だって間違ったら教えてくれると思いましたから。
知らないわよ。紛らわしいことすんなバカ。私たちをどこへ連れて行こうとしてたのよ。
I wanted to joke and say the afterlife. Oh my god, this guy's sense of humor is awful. But I didn't say it because it wouldn't be taken as a joke. I'd probably have been sent to the afterlife if I had said that.
すみません。
I got on my knees and apologized. Yuka-san said I wasn't at fault, but I thought that I was. We determined our destination and started walking again, but the snow and the wind got worse. We were in trouble and I thought we were going to die. They'd yell at me if I said it, so I just keep it to myself. Even if we did get into such a situation, I had to at least protect the two girls. I wanted to act cool, at least in the end. I'd freeze to death while protecting them from the cold. They would embrace my corpse and cry for me. Oh, I didn't know you were such a wonderful person who would go so far for us. I'm sorry for my misunderstanding. Sorry for insulting you. You were really reliable. You were better than I thought. We loved you. And they would then kiss me. I don't think people would kiss corpses usually, dude.
何ニヤニヤしてんのよ。死ね！
I got kicked. Right when I started to lose my composure and thought about such ridiculous things, we saw a light in the distance. I was told to check it by myself, so I nervously opened the door. It was a worn-out church. It'd been destroyed in places because of the earthquake, and it looked haunted. A man about my age was standing in the back. He wasn't a ghost. He was alive and turned around to me.
助かった。
Tension escaped my body. The short girl pushed me aside and went in. Yuka-san helped me up. She's an angel who swooped down to someone as useless as me. I don't know how many times I've thought this, but I once again thought that she's kind. That's how our life here started. The girl in my recollection, Yuka-san, soaks a towel into hot water, wrings it out and hands it to me.
ありがとうございます。
I guess we're back in present day. I take it.
桑形さん、最近頑張ってるようですけど、あんまり無理はしないでくださいね。
Her kind words are embarrassing, so I leave. I don't know how many times I've fantasized about such an interaction. I get behind something, wipe my face, and wipe my body under my clothes. It's easy for men, but it must be hard for women. There are other troubling things for them too. I really don't want to describe what I mean by other things. We should move to a better place soon. No, I have to be determined. A concern has been materializing inside me as the raft nears its completion. We're doing pretty well in this situation, but it might get more inconvenient once we meet up with the other survivors and our lives change. I'm starting to think that we don't need to change our way of life since we're doing well so far. I mean, it's hard to live as a group, right? I'm sure there will be tough things peculiar to social life. The world gets tougher and tougher the more people there are. I actually agree with this train of thought. We can still live even if our lives don't change. But I'm sure Yuka-san would prefer a place with more people. It can't be helped. I let out a huge sigh and realized that I really like her. I put my hood on and head out of the church. The snow hasn't stopped, covering the footprints from last night, but there are new footprints in their place. The footprints are heading the same way I am, so I follow them. As expected, Tsukasa-kun is sitting down and staring at the ruins. The raft I put together yesterday is floating in the water with a bit of snow piled up on it. I go down to the water, being careful not to slip. He turns around. I greet him and he returns a silent greeting. He's moving his mouth. I look at his hand and see that he's holding a piece of bread. I guess that's his breakfast. He must not care about the snow, as he lets the powdery snow stick to his hair. He looks ahead again. He's staring into the distance, and I don't know what he's looking at. Tsukasa-kun is quiet and doesn't often change his expression, so I don't really understand what he's thinking about. I hear a creaking sound and find out that he's holding a hand grip in his right hand.
いつも握ってるけど、それ何なんですか？スポーツとかやってるんですか？
何がですか？
Tsukasa-kun turns around quietly.
それです。
I point to it. Tsukasa-kun looks at his hand.
スポーツはやってないですよ。ピアノをやってます。
ピアノに握力とかいるんですか？
ああ、これは握力を鍛えているというより、指を動かして神経を刺激しているんです。運動自体はピアノとあまり関係ないと思います。ただ、昔は指の力を鍛えるために乳搾りをするような人もいたそうです。
Really?
乳搾りですか？
Is that one of your jokes? Oh my god, Tsukasa, your jokes are so bad.
牛乳パックのあの封の折り方もその人が発明したんだそうです。
そうなんですか。
ええ。
It's peaceful trivia unsuited to the situation.
ピアノってやっぱりお父さんが音楽家だから始めたんですか？
どうなんでしょう。自分でもよくわかりません。
そうなんですか。
そうですね。
The conversation ends. I know he's answering me seriously, but it's hard to talk with him. I give up trying to talk, approach the water, pull the rope connected to the raft, and get on the raft. We checked yesterday that it can safely carry 3 people. I know that I can get on by myself just fine. I shake it, but it's stable and all it does is make splashing sounds around the raft.
今日はいよいよ渡れるかもしれませんね。
Tsukasa-kun speaks.
できそうです。
I answer. It's almost noon.
みんな、ただいまー。
The cheerful Tano-san cheerfully returns. Aroe-chan, who has been jumping up and down in the same place for a while, replies to Tano-san without looking at him.
お、アロエちゃん今日はポゴダンスかい？相変わらずパンクだね。
Gangster. Tano-san laughs as he passes by Aroe-chan, sits at his usual place by the window, and puts his cigarette down on the table.
タクちゃん、今日はいけるねきっと。
そうですね。
We finished the final check this morning, and it's been decided that we'll go across the lake in the afternoon. The result of the check was pretty good. I think it's alright, but I'm still a bit worried.
本当に大丈夫なの？
Kawase-san asked without trying to hide her doubt.
多分大丈夫だと思いますけど。
多分じゃ困るよ。
大丈夫だよ。問題なし。俺が保証するよ。
Tano-san laughs. How can he be so confident all the time? I honestly think he's amazing. I can never be like him. I think he's more deluding himself, you know? Forcing himself to be confident. I don't think anyone is that confident every single time. After lunch, I go down to the raft and do a personal check on it. The ropes are tight and there aren't any air leaks from the drums. It's really stable, and it won't flip over even if it's shaken a bit. I think it's quite well built, if I do say so myself. I just hope everyone else thinks the same way. For example, that scary Kawase-san.
おお、
I look around since I hear a voice, and it's Kawase Hibari-san herself. She hadn't even wanted to check the raft since she hates water, so I think this is her first time actually seeing it. I think she wanted to see the raft beforehand since we're about to depart.
意外としっかりしてるじゃん。
Kawase-san sounds amazed. I'm a bit surprised because this is the first time she's praised me.
そうですか？
私見るからにヤバいやつ作ったのかと思ってたよ。クワガタ自信なさすぎ。
そう。
I'm troubled since I can't hide my smile at her words. I stay on guard, expecting her to say something about me making a strange face. But she doesn't notice because she's looking at the raft.
だいたいあんたって普段から自信なさすぎなんだよ。その辺を変えないと一生恋人とかできないよ。
Kawase-san approaches the water and cautiously reaches out for the raft. She pushes down on it, but it doesn't budge because of the raft's buoyancy.
浮かんでるな。
大丈夫ですよ。乗っても。
まあそれは後で準備してからにしておくよ。
Kawase-san forces a smile.
それよりもあんた
なんでしょ
いいの？このままで。
え？
ゆかっちよ。あんたずっと前から好きなんでしょ？
突然何を？
いいから答えなさいよ。
いや、別にゆかさんなんて、僕なんかどうせオタクですし、それに、ほら。
I did not expect this development.
ほらって何パニクってんのよ。そんなの丸分かりだよ。つうか私に隠し事するつもりなのかな？
いや、おっしゃる通りです。
そうだよね。で本題なんだけどさ。
はい。
このままじゃ横からひょいと来たやつに取られちゃうよ。
横から？
つかさ。
つかさくん。
声裏返ってるよ。
つかさくんもゆかさんを？
ともりすぎ。あとつかさがっていうかゆかっちがつかさを好きみたい。
Kawase-san simply states this shocking fact.
そんなこと言ってたんですか？
聞いたらごまかしたからあんたに今話せてるんでしょ？ゆかっちが私に隠すなんてよっぽど好きなんだよきっと。
でもそれは本当に違うっていう可能性もあるんでは？
いやあれは嘘をついてる顔よ。だいたい司と一緒にいる時は全然感じが違うじゃない。もう完全に参ってるわね。わかりやすすぎて中学生みたいよ。つかあんたいつもゆかっちのこと見てるくせに全然気がつかなかったの？
いや、それは気がつかなかじゃなくて、いつもなんか見てないですよ。
まだそんなこと言うつもりなの？
ごめんなさい。今のは撤回します。
まあとにかくそうなのよ。どうする？
そうですね。それってでも川瀬さんは僕の味方してくれるってことですか？
え？
だってわざわざ僕にこんなこと話してくれて。
One would usually think so, yeah. Kawase-san crosses her arm, closes her eyes, frowns, and ponders. Did she not realize it? If that's the case, I said something unnecessary. As I start to doubt myself, Kawase-san uncrosses her arms and answers.
そうだね。あんたの味方するよ。
味方してくれるんですか？
うん。何驚いてるのよ。
I mean, I'd be surprised too if I was him.
じゃあもし僕が万が一奇跡的にですよ、ゆかさんと付き合えたら祝福してくれるんですか？
それは嫌。想像しただけでムカつくよ。
What the hell?
どっちなんですか？
そりゃ確かにあんたがゆかっちと付き合うなんて死ぬほど嫌だよ。私は嫌。でも弱い方の味方をするのはそれは人として当然のことなんだから仕方ないでしょ。味方するわよ。
I think I kind of understand what's going on. Like, Hibari probably knows he kind of likes Kawagata, but not really. Like, you know, the typical I'll help you because I like you kind of deal. She's still not sure herself, probably. I'm not sure. That's just what I assume right now.
怒ってるんですか？
怒ってないよ。
はい。
だいたいあんた本当に好きなんでしょ？ それは嘘じゃないんでしょ？
はい。
じゃあそれでいいじゃない。あんたはキモいけどずっと真面目だったじゃない。気持ちは純粋なんでしょ？それならいいよ、なんだって。勝手にすればいいでしょ。その代わり臆病すぎるのは許さないから覚えておいてよ。
She spits this out, and for some reason, my heart fills with happiness.
川瀬さんって
何を？
すごくいい人なんですね。
気持ち悪い。潤んだ目で人を見つめる
だって
This is so weird.
な。泣くなバカ。お前そんなんだからダメなんだよ。
本当ありがとうございます。
I mean, I don't necessarily care whether Tsukasa is with Yuka or not, but I do like her, so... And I don't necessarily hate Kuwagata. They're both really good characters, I feel.
キモバカアホ。それでも男か。もう知らない。
Kawase-san's face turns red and she runs off. My tears won't stop, so I cry for a while after she left me. She's left. I know it's miserable, but I can't help it. Alright, I'll do my best to get close to Yuka-san. I'll gather my courage for that. I'm determined. I swear to God. The raft carrying everyone slowly heads offshore. We were talking a lot when we got on, but everyone started to quiet down once the raft started moving. Tano-san and I stand on the sides and push off against the lake bottom with long rods. The raft glides across the smooth water surface without shaking much. We're off from the bank, and ahead of us quietly stands the rubbled town, with its waist below the water. The black shadow of the church slowly recedes into the distance.
ダメだって。
Tsukasa-kun is holding on to Aroe-chan, who tries to lean off the root of the raft. Kawase-san, the one who usually takes care of her, is staring at the water in fear and clinging onto Yuka-san. I move carefully and hold onto the rod cautiously so I won't surprise anyone. The raft seems like it's going slowly, but it's moving faster than it feels. We eventually reach the inner city.
森みたい。
Kawase-san looks dazed, and her words escape her mouth along with white breath. The buildings are standing in disorder and are covered in snow, losing their uniqueness. It looks the same no matter which direction I look. It seems I'm getting dizzy, and it does feel like I'm lost in a forest. My sense of direction abandoning me. But if this place is a forest, I think it's a dead forest. The silence of the concrete is so heavy and cold. I don't feel the elegant feeling of a forest. And first of all, I don't feel any presence of living things. A black shadow runs across the water surface. I look up to see a white bird flying by the buildings. The bird flies away as I watch. Aroe-chan opens her notebook and shows me the page. On it isn't a symbol, but a photo from a trip. Several swans are flying above a lake while Aroe-chan and several others are in front of the camera. Everyone is smiling at the camera, but Aroe-chan is staring off into another direction.
そうそれは白鳥ね。
Yuka-san gently says this and pats her head.
ねえ、多分これが駅前通りでしょ。そしてこれが秋山街道じゃない？そうすると向こうがうちらの大学だよね。あのぐちゃぐちゃになってる山みたいなのはもしかして郵便局なの？
Yubinkyoku. Kawase-san points to each location and says the name of what they used to be when the town was functioning. It seems she's getting used to traveling on water.
ねえ、あっちは駅でしょ。駅なら今どうなってるかちょっと見てみたいな。イカダやってくれない？
Kawase-san looks up at Tano-san.
それはよそう。
どうしてよ。
向こうは水深が浅すぎるよ。地面に引っかかっちゃうかもしれない。
Kawase-san reluctantly withdraws. The raft slowly moves on.
あれ見てください。
Yuka-san suddenly speaks out. Oh no, where's the music? She's pointing at an elevated area that avoided being submerged. The snow over there has been disturbed.
なんだか自然のものではないですね。
ええ、人の痕跡でしょうか。
Tsukasa-kun answers Yuka-san.
それっぽいね。足跡みたいな気がする。ちょっと見てみようか。
Tanomura-san guides the raft closer, and there are indeed footprints. The snow shows that several people have walked over this place. They look new, so the people must have been here a little while ago. We anchor the raft and get off onto the ground. Oh man, don't do that, dude. Oh, don't do that. You know that someone's gonna steal that raft? Oh my god, guys.
やっと地面の上に来れたよ。
Kawase-san looks relieved.
向こうに行ったみたいだね。何か音聞こえない？
Tano-san asks while looking at the footprints, so Tsubasa-kun strains his ears and points ahead of us. There are buildings with relatively less damage in that direction.
なんだかあの中から人の声が聞こえるようです。
I can't hear anything, but there's no need to doubt his auditory sense. But what kind of ears does he have? He seems like a psychic who can smell where ghosts are.
つかさ、本当なの？他の生存者なの？
そうみたいですね。
Tsukasa-kun nods.
それなら行ってみましょうよ。こう簡単に他の人に会えるなんて思ってなかったですよ。ラッキーだな。
Oh, I don't know if like those guys are gonna be good guys or bad guys though.
ほんとよ。もっとクタクタになるまで探し回らなくちゃいけないかと思ってたよ。こんな簡単に見つかるなら案外たくさん生き残ってるのかもね。
I think Kawase-san's right. We didn't meet anyone up until now, probably because we were at that church near the mountains. There must be lots of survivors in town. That must be it. I hope that's the case. And when we start walking,
ちょっと待ってちょ。
Tano-san stops everyone. He jumps back onto the raft, takes one of his belongings, a long and skinny bag, and carries it over his shoulder.
それ釣り竿ですか？
違うよ。先祖代々の家宝。
What? He takes it out and shows it to us.
日本刀？なんでそんなものを？
Okay. See, I like Tanomura. He knows when something dangerous might happen. I like him, but I also have to be cautious of him because he's too vigilant.
うちで一番高価なものだったからね。埋まらっちゃうのももったいないから拾って持ってきたんだ。
ああ、高級品だから肌身離さずってことですか。僕も PC 持ってこうかな。でも泥棒なんかいませんよ、きっと。
まあね、念のためだよ。それにいざとなったら武器にもなるし。
武器？
だってまあこんな状況だからさ。相手が変な人じゃないとも限らないじゃん。
やっぱりそういう警戒とかいるのかな？
Of course, just because your group is like full of good people doesn't mean other groups are like the same as you. I never thought that way. I thought that anybody we meet would unconditionally be on our side.
僕も何か持ってこうかな。
いや、そんな真面目に考えなくってもさ、俺がちょっと気にしすぎなんだと自分でも思うよ。
Tano-san laughs in embarrassment. No fucking way. I gotta take something. Hell no. There's no way I'm not taking anything. Fuck that. I'm way too cautious. Well, they say forewarned is forearmed. I pick up 2 pieces of concrete and put them in my coat pocket.
何それ？
Kawase-san points at the bulge in my pocket. I can't tell her that these crappy things are a weapon, so I laugh it off. We start walking to the building. Hey, it's better than nothing, my dude.
すいません。
Tano-san calls out. The building must have been used as an office before. I can't tell what company it was since the sign is gone now, but the plain appearance makes it obvious. The windows are broken and the building itself is a bit tilted, but the windows on the second floor have been boarded up from the inside. It's evident that it was done after the earthquake, so there must be people inside as expected.
それにしたってこんな崩れそうなところに住まなくてもいいのに。
I say this.
私もそう思いましたけど、客観的に見たら私たちのいた教会もあまり変わらないような気がします。
Yuka-san replies, now that she mentions it, she may be right. When I first saw the church, I thought that it was worn out and on the verge of collapsing. The saying home is where you hang your hat sure is right.
もしもーし。
Tano-san calls out again.
もしもーし。
Aoi-chan copies him. The board moves and a person's face shows up. It's a man with a stubble.
人間だ。
Kawase-san looks happy.
よー、若い人たち。どうしたの？
Yeah, definitely doesn't sound like someone. I don't mean to sound, I don't mean to judge, but doesn't sound like someone who's kind, you know. The man asks in an easygoing voice.
僕たち他の場所からやってきたんです。
Tano-san answers in a loud voice.
ああ、そうなの。でも、他から来たって、今までどうしてたの？
ずっと向こう岸の建物に住んでて、そこには僕たちだけだったんです。だからまだ何の情報もなくて。地震について何かご存知ですか？お一人なんですか？
ああ、うん、いや、仲間と住んでるよ。ここに。今ちょっと出てるけどね。
それだけですか？他に生存者と会いませんでしたか？
そうだね。結構おるみたいだな。みんなこんなとこじゃなくて、もっと乾いたところの建物とかに住み着いとるみたいだよ。
I don't trust you, dude. Your voice is so sleazebaggy.
結構いるって。
Kawase-san jumps up and down.
そうなんですか。じゃあ
Tanomura-san continues.
ああ、2階と1階じゃ話もかなわんわ。ちょっと待ってね。今下行くから。俺たち飯の途中だったんだわ。
With that, the man puts the board over the window again.
ねえ、人よ、人がいるんだって。やっと助かるのかな。
Oh my god, you're so stupid. Kawase-san is excited.
はい。よかったです。
I'm happy as well, of course.
そうだね。これでなんかちょっとわかるかな。
Tano-san seems less tense now.
あれ、天子さん、どうして浮かない顔をしているんですか？
Yuka-san asks Tsukasa-kun.
いや、別にそんなことはありませんが。
でも今ちょっと顔を曇らせたような。
He's probably lying about eating, huh? Tsukasa has good hearing, you know.
気のせいですよ。
Yuka-san starts to reply, but
そうですか。
she ends up not saying anything. Yuka-san is staring at Tsukasa-kun, looking unconvinced. She must have seen something. Anyway, now that it's been pointed out, I realize that Yuka-san is paying extra attention to Tsukasa-kun. Kawase-san is right. Tsukasa-kun looked the same as always. He's always like this, right? How could you notice any difference? I get depressed thinking about it. I know now's not the time for it, but what's painful is painful. I hang my head and realize that Kawase-san is looking at me. She moves her lips when our eyes meet. I think she's going to encourage me, but... Dumbass, is what she seems to be saying. I hate Kawase-san. I object silently with my eyes when Tsukasa-kun speaks up.
今、彼らは階段を降りてきます。そろそろ姿を現しますね。
His voice does indeed sound different from usual. Oh shit. That was a fast change of perspective.
And
with that, I'm actually gonna leave this at a cliffhanger. Holy shit. Wow, we only played for one scene for Takuma. I mean, there's probably gonna be other chances where we go into other scenes, of course, but only one scene for him? I mean, that's okay. See, this game is, like, very thrilling. It's more of a thriller game than anything, right? And I do enjoy it. I don't know, it's a different kind of excitement from when you play Tsubahibi. Tsubahibi tries to be more of a philosophical slash... You know, like, I don't know what Tsubahibi was trying to be, but this game knows what it's trying to be. And I kind of enjoy it right now. But we'll see how the pacing goes. As of now, though, I don't see any faults with the game. The beginning was kind of long, but I think that's pretty normal for a prologue. So far, this game has been really solid, and I've been enjoying every second of it. It's really fun. Hopefully, this next scene won't be something like Chapter 4 of Tsubahibi. But thank you all for watching. This is the third episode, I believe, for Swan Song, and I'm really enjoying it so far, like I said. I'll see you guys next time.